Hi, my name is Melody Matheny, and I'm the founder of Slice Creative Network. We're here today to showcase freelancers as part of TETV. And we're here today to meet one of our newer Slice members named John Paul Castro-Canaday. Welcome, John Paul.
Greatly appreciate it.
Hi. So nice
Hello.
to see you. Thanks for joining.
Likewise. Thanks for having me again.
Great. So, John Paul, what disciplines do you work in?
So I guess you could say I work in many disciplines, as many creatives supposedly do, right? But primarily, I would say my expertise is in 3D modeling and CAD designing when it comes to full concept development. Talking about from initial sketching and design phases into fully realized renderings and stuff like that. That's really sort of my bread and butter, and something that I'm very naturally passionate for.
That's wonderful. And where have you worked in the past?
I'm actually coming up this year on my 5-year anniversary with the University of Orlando. I've worked as both a performer and as a tech operator in the entertainment side of things, primarily with marquee events. I've also been very, very fortunate to have a year-long internship opportunity that started out as only a 6-month term with the Walt Disney Company as a professional intern on the engineering side of things, which is where my background is rooted in. And additionally, I've had some third-party experience working subcontracting with pyrotechnics and lighting in the past with SeaWorld Orlando.
Excellent. Well, we'd love to take a look at some of your work. Can we go ahead and look at your portfolio, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so your website is johnpaulcastro-canaday.com. I see.
Yes, ma'am. As long as you know the name, you'll know the website.
Excellent. All right, run us through.
Sure thing. So here's the website that I actually created as part of, I guess, pandemic productive activities, if you will. This past year, I'd started developing this website as sort of a showcase to take my personal design and portfolio, I guess you could say, to the next level. A little bit about it here. It starts out with my name, of course, and just showcasing, hey, this is what I am, what I do. A little bit about my creative background and interest in entertainment design. And then here we get into a little bit of the nitty gritty, just showcasing some of the logos I come up with. It's usually how my process starts. I'll start with a sketch idea and come up with a concept and then develop a logo in some capacity. And the fun fact about this is a lot of these logos I created as a student where I didn't have access to some of the Adobe Creative Suite. So many of these logos are actually made in PowerPoint. And I guess in a way it could really showcase the full, capacity to which you could edit and render photos and actually Photoshop, which many of us have access to. And then so the next step just sort of shows a conceptual realization as I start off with my sketching and slowly start developing more and more and build that story into a CAD model up to where I have a fully realized model of some of these initial sketches. This next section of my portfolio here just shows how I organize the entire project into this nice deliverable package. I'll develop a PowerPoint outlining all the storyline and such like that, and be able to have like call outs for all the different considerations with lighting, scenic, special effects, any kind of audio, background music, stuff like that. And then how I can, make sure that these things are kept secure in their distribution to a potential client. And then the next section is something that's actually really up and budding these past few years and something I'm certainly very excited about. I personally think the collaboration section is my most exciting and most favorite part because it shows how we're able to come up with these really, really great things as a team versus, just a one part of a collective whole. So this is actually this really, really cool opportunity I had with a close friend of mine that started his own production company called Violent Hiccups Films, and they specialize in doing horror short films. And this past October, we were able to release, even throughout the climate and a lot of the difficulties with the pandemic, we were able to produce and shoot this short film called Bloodshine. And you can see here's the link to it right now. As part of this production, I served as both the second AD and second AC. For those of you who are familiar with the filming world, that stands for the assistant director and assistant camera. So I did a little bit of stuff behind the camera, and then I did a lot of stuff in front of the camera with regards to scenic and set design. a lot of considerations were put in with lighting and my lighting background with both Disney and SeaWorld. So I got a ability to exercise that skill set there too. And I think in a way that this is certainly some of my favorite stuff that I've ever done. And you could certainly follow the link there to any of their social media accounts. We're already starting to work on production of a couple more things we have coming up for everyone this year. And then you can, of course, follow the link and watch the film for yourself. And then here's another concept. I want to start off by disclaiming the logo and initial, I guess you could say, elevation drawings. The conceptual drawings are all through a close friend of mine, is Sean Kahn. He's the one that sort of created and started this inaugural event called Vamp Manor. Each year it's this really cool showcase of sort of a Halloween event where we'll create this large set piece that rotates throughout the years in terms of a theme. And this past year, it happened to be sort of an Egyptian theme, where it was, tagged with the subtitle Tombs of Blood and stuff like that. Unfortunately, the event has been postponed due to the pandemic and is slated to take place sometime within the next coming weeks, actually. So this is something that's really cool and exciting as well, because it's something that rotates a little bit more in and out of through the years, and something where you sort of get something new each time. It's not exactly the same thing. It's not, predictable. And so it keeps us on our toes, keeps us on our feet of coming up with new ideas and concepts, which is a lot of fun. And then so lastly, we got a little bit of a gallery here, just showcasing some more of these elements that I've produced. All of which right here are of my own creation, be it the sketching, the logo design, the model rendering. Once we get to some of the bloodshine / this is also a logo I developed as sort of a fan fiction. Here's a cool concept, actually, with regards to a pivotal show moment in the Bloodshine film, where I actually engineered this pump system to act as sort of like this really morbid siphon system. And I don't want to give too much away, but it's something I wanted to showcase here as sort of a pre-production development piece. So be sure to check out the films to see more and to see the actual finished product. But something like this is just some imagery, that was developed for it. Again, here's a piece that Sean made, and then myself going over it, detailing it, texturizing it, stuff like that, making it look a little more authentic. And then here's, some strict level design of some of the bare bone basics of the structure itself, and seeing what kind of set we can develop. And then the actual more or less finished product with gobos on the lighting and, fully set out, fleshed out scenic rather. And then lastly, we have my little section down here where you can get in touch with me if by any means you have any questions, anything that you would like to talk about, even if it's just to say, hey, I'd like to meet you, just like to talk about really anything. I'm always more than happy to speak, always more than happy to just brainstorm and, come up with whatever blue sky concepts. I'm hoping that within the next coming weeks, if not months, depending on how this certain process goes, there's some other features that I could add to my site that'll really diversify my set, because I know as of now it's sort of skewed towards horror, which is something, again, that I find myself naturally passionate about and enjoy. But otherwise, until then, I will just have to keep on waiting and hope that, I could get the approval to share sooner rather than later, so I can get some more things out there, because I'm very, very proud of some of the stuff that I've come up with recently. And other than that, I just wanted to say thank you very much for checking out my site. If by any means, you could reach out to me again with the contact form below or at the email over here, my phone number as well as my LinkedIn and Facebook sites. So thank you very much again for viewing and taking this little journey with me. And I hope you enjoyed it as much as I had making it.
Thank you. So it sounds to me like you're rooted emotionally, passionately in the like set design, event design, theatrical scenery area.
For sure.
So, and I know you mentioned to me before that you were going to school, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me about that.
Sure thing. So again, like I mentioned earlier, my background's in engineering. I'm actually attending Arizona State, their online program that recently became ABET accredited, rather, for sort of an up and budding. I feel like this might be an interesting direction for things in terms of an engineering discipline, but I'm pursuing a Bachelor of Science in Engineering Management with a focus on the power systems and electrical engineering industry. So at that point, I'd be sort of coupling the business analytical side, a little bit more of the project management side where I have experience in, that I realized that I had enjoyed a lot more than a more specific design discipline. So yeah, I should be having my bachelor's here within the next year, and I have some interest in continuing along with maybe a 4+1 program and getting a master's in IE or something like that. So it's all sort of up in the air. I know financially at this time it doesn't make too much sense to go directly into a master's program, even if it is a 4+1. So depending on how things shake out with getting my bachelor's and potential, intern opportunities in the future, I may or may not, decide to pursue that now versus later. Additionally, I'm planning on taking the EIT sometime within this upcoming spring, or the FE examination, I should say, so that I'll be in EIT. And at that point, I'll be getting a little bit more professionalized and a little bit more licensure to, pad my resume and to hopefully make me a little bit more of a legitimate candidate.
All right, wonderful. So currently
you.
you're located in Orlando, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, I know a lot of work is digital nowadays, but if a client from somewhere else were interested in hiring you, would you be open to working in another location outside of Orlando? Or do you kind of want to stay here?
I'm a Florida boy, born and raised. I love my state and everything like that, but I have no qualms against traveling or working remote locations like that. In fact, I've been applying for internships either across the country, overseas, stuff like that for a number of years now. So I'm more than willing and open.
Oh, that's great. All right. Well, so clearly people, if they're interested in talking to you more, they can go to your website and find all the information they need about you there. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, John Paul. It was great to get to know you and see some of your work. I hope to be speaking to you again very soon. Thank you so much.
Same here. Thank you very much again.